Dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun. It's not Jaws, but it's Tremors. Remember Tremors, the movie? We are at the Film Museum. To be specific, the Museum of Western Film History. Here in Lone Pine, California. There's going to be a little little movie that they let us watch in their nice little quaint theater, and then we're going to see a lot of really cool vintage, true vintage film paraphernalia. So let's get inside there. You don't want to touch that cactus. You don't want to touch any cactus, but especially not a cactus made of barbed wire. But let's go inside and check it out. I am so excited. Out of all the times I've been to Mount Whitney, I've actually never been in here. Down the hallway here, inside of the museum, there is a theater. So we just watched this awesome film about all of the films that were made in the Alabama Hills here in Lone Pine area at the base of where Mount Whitney is. So I'm going to insert that for you guys right here, so enjoy the show.
History. For decades, the distinctive contours of these odd-shaped, bronze-colored rocks backed by Mount Whitney and other majestic snow-covered peaks have provided a spectacular setting for countless tales of Hollywood's Old West, as well as such far-flung locations as India, China, Afghanistan, and occasionally, even other planets. This sleepy community in California's high desert country lured movie companies because it offered a rugged, romantic mountain setting within a reasonable driving distance of Hollywood. Directors and cinematographers loved filming in the Alabama Hills just west of town, where the distinctive rocks extended far into the distance, offering a perfect way to display motion and distance. The snow-covered white granite Sierra Nevada in the background filled the frame and contrasted perfectly with the darker Alabama Hills. By most accounts, the first movie filmed in the Lone Pine area was The Roundup, a Paramount picture starring silent screen comedian Fatty Arbuckle, which began filming in early September of the first complete town set in the large flat area just north of Movie Road, in the S-curve along Whitney Portal Road. Ever since, the area has been called Red Dog after the town. After the first talkies were made in Lone Pine in 1929 and 1930, the area's movie business really began to pick up. Led by Maynard, Gibson, and Mix, who've been working there for years, a new group of cowboy stars, studios, and independent production units, large and small, began taking advantage of the spectacular scenery. The newcomers included RKO's Tom Keene and John Wayne, making films initially for First National Warner Brothers and later for Lone Star and Republic Pictures. George O'Brien and Randolph Scott, representing Fox and Paramount respectively, carried on Lone Pine's connection with movies adapted from novels by best-selling Western author. The 40s began with Tyrone Power and Humphrey Bogart making the trek up from Hollywood. Harry Sherman producing Paramount's last Zane Grey films, as well as Hopalong Cassidy chasing the bad guys through the hills. During the war years, more than a film a month was shot in and around Lone Pine. Although the end of World War II marked the beginning of the end for B-Western production overall, Lone Pine was at its peak hosting B of the Ladies. Ann Baxter, Maureen O'Hara, Barbara Stanwyck, Susan Hayward, and Virginia Mayo were a few of the major leading female stars to work there, some more than once. In 1955, MGM brought cast and crew up for Bad Day at Black Rock, the most elaborate production in Lone Pine since Gunga Din in 1939. A complete town set was built to the north and east of town, so only a few key scenes were actually filmed in the Alabama Hills. This film, which stars Spencer Tracy, Robert Bryan, Ernest Borgnine, and Lee Marvin, remains one of the most important and best known of the Lone Pine films because of its wide exposure on television. That medium discovered the Alabama Hills in the early 50s. The opening credits for The Lone Ranger, with the William Tell Overture blaring in the background, were filmed on Movie Road. Multiple episodes of Half Gun Will Travel, Annie Oakley, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and Rawhide, among many other series, were shot in the area. Even the Twilight Zone made good use of the spectacular scenery offered in the hills. By 1960, with Western series proliferating on television, the market for big screen Westerns had dwindled significantly. Major sequences for 1962's How the West Was Won were filmed in the Alabama hills, using Movie Road for a spectacular wagon train attack by Indians. In 1972, Clint Eastwood filmed Joe Kidd in the area, but by that time the Western was a dying genre. In recent years, Lone Pine has become a favorite location for producers of science fiction films, most notably Star Trek V and Tremors.
I humbly present the Jericho.
Although movie companies don't come to Lone Pine as often today, the rugged landscape can still be seen regularly as the backdrop for numerous television commercials and print ads. Nearly every make of American car and many European models have been filmed on the back roads of the area. Motorcycle, bank, soft drink, and more recently even candy commercials have been done in the hills. However, today, tomorrow, or 50 years from tomorrow, whenever one thinks about Lone Pine's film heritage, the image that immediately comes to mind will be that of the American movie cowboy.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. So now that the show's over, I wanted to show you this quilt that somebody painstakingly made, put a lot of effort into it. They even made pillow shams. One being Jodie Foster. What other ones do I recognize? There's Clint Eastwood, Gary Cooper, let's see, John Wayne, of course, Mel Gibson, Cary Grant, Debbie Reynolds, who also has the famous starter everybody knows, Carrie Fisher, who plays Princess Leia in the original Star Wars movies. And look at the beautiful scenery in the middle here. It's a little dark, I know it's hard to see, so we'll take a step outside now and go take a look at the actual museum. So there are just so many little treasures and cool things to see in here. And so many different little rooms and exhibits to check out. I can't possibly show them all to you. So I just kind of have to pick and choose what looks cool, like this sweet stagecoach. It doesn't have a plaque saying what movie it's from or anything like that. I assume it was used in multiple Western movies. If anyone recognizes the stagecoach at all, please let me know what you recognize it from. So this is my favorite part of the whole museum, I think, so far. Dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it, dun. No, it's not Jaws, but it's Tremors. Remember Tremors, the movie? This is an exploding head graboid puppet from the 1990 movie. This large puppet, powered by hydraulic motors that have been removed, worked in all 4 Tremors movies and the television show. I didn't even know there was a television show. But Universal reserved the right to borrow it back should Tremors 5 loom on the horizon. I don't know, is there going to be a Tremors 5? They have a couple more puppets down here. And this was the whole reason my nephew, LJ, wanted to come, right, LJ?
Yeah, this is the only reason I came here, is to see these. That's a screecher. If I remember correctly.
Oh, I forgot Reba was in the movie. That's how long it's been since I've seen it. I didn't know who Reba was when I watched this when I was a kid. There's Reba. Reba McEntire. Michael Gross. They have special notes. Apparently there was a comic book made.
14. It's a simple kind of town to get unsettled.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter, Michael Gross, and Reba McEntire. And then here is 3 graboids latex puppets. These snake-like appendages that came out of the beast's mouth were called graboids in front of Chang's Market when he put one on display. Notice one was created as broken to mark the battles that the characters waged against the creature. I don't know, I guess that's the broken one?
Screamers. That one right there.
Oh.
His head's popped.
So Screecher. That one's, yeah, screeching.
Yep.
The museum has 3 of these creature puppets. They were arranged by producer Nancy Roberts as a gift from Universal Studios. Through the magic selected of cutting, each creature is made to seem real and self-locomotion on the screen.
You should watch this movie, Amanda, later.
Wait, has she never seen it?
No, I think she has.
So they have a really cool Iron Man exhibit over here. Now I can't tell if any of these items were actually in the movie except for the suit. The suit definitely stands out when you first walk in. So let me read about it just a little bit here. Iron Man, from the first Iron Man 2008. The suit was tailored exclusively for Mr. Robert Downey and worn when the first Iron Man movie was being filmed in Lone Pine. It was used in the opening scenes when he gets shot and wounded, and it's on loan from the collection of Richard Schmidt. So yeah, that is definitely very cool. I don't know if any of this stuff was actually in there, like this ammunition boxes is what I think they are, but anyway, moving on. So the city we are actually in right now is Lone Pine. A lot of the westerns were shot in what is called the Alabama Hills and stuff like that, but Death Valley is about an hour away from here, I believe. Maybe an hour to an hour and a half. There was a lot of Star Wars movies that were filmed there. The New Hope, Return of the Jedi. What else is recognizable here? A Twilight Zone episode. A Daft Punk. And the Eastern Sierra, Star Trek Insurrection was filmed. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was also filmed in the Eastern Sierra. And Lone Pine has a long list here with Tremors, Star Trek 5 and 7, Iron Man, Transformers 2, Twilight Zone, and another episode of Twilight Zone, $6 Million Man, that TV show from way back when, Superman, and Adventures of Captain Marvel. Wow. Look at this awesome. And anyone recognize the man who drove it? Yes. If you said Humphrey Bogart, you are correct. Let's take a look here. This is from the movie High Sierra. It's a Plymouth Coupe, 1937. Who can forget the drive up the old Mount Whitney portal with Mad Dog Earl, played by Humphrey Bogart? The reason the road is different is that they changed the route to the portals after the film was made, and the film made Bogart a star. It's just cool to think that Humphrey Bogart was driving in this car. He sat right there. And for a 1937 car, they've really kept up the nice paint job on here. It's in immaculate condition. There's like the old rims. Plymouth. Hi. So shiny you can see yourself. And over here they have a little section dedicated to John Wayne and John Ford. Here is a suit that John Wayne wore in the movie The Searchers in 1956. It's amazing that they actually keep this stuff around. I'd be curious to know if they knew at one point this stuff would end up in an old Western museum, or what. What compelled them to keep these jackets around? But either way, we're thankful now, and it's pretty cool. So this is John Wayne's coat from the movie The Shootist. And this coat was worn by him in the last movie in 1976, where he plays a gunfighter who was named J.B. Books, and he was diagnosed with a painful cancer, the character was. And the story revolves around how Books figures out a way to die with the least amount of pain and the most amount of dignity. And upon arriving in Carson City, Nevada, Books gets a second opinion regarding his illness, which confirms that he has 2 months to live. I found it pretty ironic that the last film he was in, he actually, played a man who was soon going to pass. Life is ironic like that. And here's some spurs used by John Wayne in Westward Ho, 1935, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance in 1962. And here's a little hallway called Outlaw Alley. Or it has Jack Elam, House Peter Jr., Charles King, all the outlaws from all the old Western movies. The villains of Lone Pine. Cha-cha. No, I'm not an outlaw. I was just looking. Let me out. Look at these giant, impressive movie cameras from way back when. This one right here, this puppy is a 1928 regular simplex 35mm movie projector. Originally, the projector was used by movie theater in the silent period and then the early sound equipment. And does anyone recognize what this is? It's a drive-in movie speaker. The theater it was located in is unknown, but it was in the 1950s or 60s. You'd park right up next to the speaker so you could actually hear the movie. Oh yes, and up here is a picture of an example of the drive-in movie speaker. You could even pick it up and hold it up to your ear to get better sound quality. So as we move forward into the future, over here is a Brenkert professional projector. This was from the 1950s. Was used by RCA, and it also used 35mm film. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. And then here's another one. Let's see what year we're getting into here. Oh, it doesn't have a plaque. But you can tell it's definitely newer than those two. And there's an old classic light that they used. Looking at this last camera, I could see there's actually film in it. I wonder what movie that is in there. What is that? Looks upside down right there. And this is a 1928 Lincoln camera truck. This is amazing. Here's an example. It's just so cool to think, a 1928 camera truck. I mean, look at that. Look at the wheel wells there. So RKO Radio Pictures used to own this truck. Like I said, too many cool rooms and exhibits to see around here. So if you're ever driving through Lone Pine on the 395, going up to Mount Whitney, or even on your way to Mammoth, stop by here and check it out. But it is also on the way to Death Valley, so lots of cool things to do out here, so you should stop by and check it out. But before I go out the door, well, I'm gonna check out the gift shop, of course, as always, but before I go out the door, I want to know if anybody recognizes this carriage with the giant tooth on top. I definitely recognized it. Couldn't put my finger on it. It wasn't coming to mind. And then bam, Django. Yes, the amazing and painless surgeon dentist, Dr. King Schultz, a character from the movie Django. How nice. It looks like they gave a script from the movie to Lone Pine Film Museum. And it has all the signatures there. Now, I recommend seeing Django if you're of age to watch it, and if you don't mind really gory movies, because this is a Quentin Tarantino movie, and you can only assume that it will be gory. But other than that, you should watch it. And before we exit, we shall check out the gift shop. Ooh. I don't know what this is for. Do you just hang it on your wall? Tall Tales. Oh, it's a dog toy. I did not pick that up, but I should have, because... And there's a dog on it. I was like, this is a giant sponge. There's lots of cool mugs and magnets. Nice John Wayne book you can sit by the fire and check out. Oh my gosh, there's even a John Wayne family cookbook. Cute little stuffed animals. Oh, look at the deer. Blue-eyed deer. This is a cool looking children's book. There was a coyote who swallowed a flea. This animation looks familiar. I don't know why, it just looks familiar somehow to me. They got cool t-shirts for boys and girls. And adult shirts right here. California. I love you, California. Alabama Hills. This is actually a rubber band gun. Like you wrap the front of it around here, pull it back here.
Yeah,
right?
you can do a bunch, one for each.
Oh, and then bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Shoot your brother or sister in the head with it.
Load up like.
Actually seems like you could really hurt someone with that. I don't know. There's actually some neat informational books like the Mount Whitney Guide, Desert Spirit Places, El Camino Sierra 395, and the Arches of Alabama Hills. In fact, they have a lot of cool books on movies over here, like this one right here. What's his name? Then they also have pretty necklaces, earrings, cool bracelets. I would sport those, actually. We're now entering the Alabama Hills. Future Panda here. The last minute or so of this video will be a time-lapse of the drive up to Whitney Portal, which is where all the camping and cabins are located. It's up there at 8,400 feet. Thank you as always for watching this video. It really means the world to me, and if you could take it a step further and subscribe, it would mean everything to me. So I'll see you in the next episode.